Okay, when you think about the global economy, what usually pops into your head, maybe tech giants or, the big car manufacturer.
Right, the usual suspects.
Exactly. Well, what if we told you one of the most kind of quietly booming industries involves something really simple, something you might actually have in your garage right now?
Hmm.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into something, well, genuinely surprising, the global sanding pad market.
Yeah, it sounds mundane, doesn't it? But our mission today is really to pull back the curtain on this industry that most people, frankly, overlook.
Right.
We want to unpack its surprising scale, its really rapid growth, look at how that plays out across different regions, and, pinpoint the forces driving it all.
So this deep dive is basically a shortcut, helping you understand some, well, hidden economic currents.
Precisely. Hidden but fundamental.
And when we say surprising scale, we absolutely mean it. This is where it gets really interesting. Get this. The global sanding pad market, valued at a massive $6.45 billion back in 2021.
$6.5 billion.
Wow. Yeah. But hold on, it doesn't stop there. Projections show it climbing to over $9.2 billion by 2025.
Okay.
And then really taking off, hitting a huge $18.75 billion by 2033.
That's almost triple the 2021 figure.
Exactly. We're talking an average annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 9.3%. That's impressive.
It really is. And what's fascinating, I think, is what's behind that number. It's not just one niche thing.
No.
No, it's propelled by these really broad fundamental sectors. We're talking automotive, construction, electronics, furniture, you name it.
So it's not just about making wood smooth for a DIY project.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about this global push for higher quality finishes, more efficient manufacturing, precision basically across the board.
Okay.
If you connect that to the bigger picture, this kind of growth in, well, sanding pads, it signals a huge ongoing industrial expansion.
And a rising demand everywhere for things to just be better made,
Yeah.
more polished.
Exactly. Precision finishing. Think about what that tells us about manufacturing standards and infrastructure development worldwide. It's a small product reflecting big trends.
Okay, so that's the global overview. Pretty staggering stuff. But these things always play out differently region by region, right? Where should we start digging into the specifics?
Yeah, let's start with North America. It's, a mature market, but the growth figures are still really robust.
Okay.
Its market size was over $1.7 billion in 2021.
Right.
And it's projected to hit nearly $4.8 billion by 2033. So still strong growth, close to 9% annually, about 8.88% to be precise.
Almost 9%. So in a developed market like North America, what's driving that? Is it just new cars and houses?
Well, that's a great question. New construction is definitely a piece of it, but actually a big driver is the renovation market, especially in the U.S., which is the clear leader there. Over $1.3 billion just on its own in 2021.
Renovations. Makes sense. People fixing up homes, maybe wanting higher-end finishes.
Exactly that. High-end home improvements, furniture making, even things like specialized auto restoration, anywhere the perfect finish is key.
Got it.
And Canada is showing really strong growth, too, actually a slightly higher CAGR, around 9.5%. Its market is projected to more than triple by 2033.
Wow.
And Mexico is contributing significantly as well, showing its growing manufacturing base from about 117 million up to a projected 330 million.
Okay, so North America. Strong, steady, driven by quality and renovation as much as new builds. Let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe. Is it a similar story or are there different dynamics?
Europe's trajectory is just as dynamic, actually. It started at over $1.5 billion in 2021.
Okay.
And it's also expected to more than double, reaching over $4.3 billion by 2033. The growth rate is very similar, just under 9% annually.
And who's leading the pack there? Germany, I assume?
Germany, yeah, no surprise there, reflecting its huge manufacturing base. It was nearly 300 million back in 2021, projected to hit almost 800 million.
Okay. Any other standouts in Europe that might catch us off guard?
Well, France is set for really significant growth, projected to almost triple its market size. But maybe the most interesting one is Russia.
Russia. Why is that?
It actually has the highest regional growth rate, just over 10% CGR.
Wow, higher than Germany or France?
Yeah, in terms of percentage growth. It suggests some pretty substantial investment happening in its industrial sectors, starting from about 150 million, heading towards almost 500 million by 2033.
Interesting.
And then you've got other strong performers too, like Italy, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, all showing growth rates over 9%. So it's really widespread demand across the continent.
Okay, Europe. Dynamic, strong manufacturing base. with maybe some surprising growth pockets like Russia. Now, let's talk Asia Pacific. This region often dominates in volume for manufactured goods, right?
Absolutely. And it's no different here. Asia Pacific's market surge is, well, immense. It's already the largest share globally.
Right.
Grew from over $2.2 billion in 2021, and it's projected to hit $6.5 billion by 2033. That's driven by a strong 9.4% annual growth rate.
6.5 billion, that's huge. And China must be a massive part of that.
Oh, definitely. China's contribution is enormous. It was already over $670 million in 2021, and that's set to nearly triple by 2033. Just massive scale there.
Makes sense. With China leading, are there other countries in the region showing particularly aggressive growth?
Yes, absolutely. India stands out with an incredibly impressive growth rate, nearly 10% annually.
Wow, almost 10%.
Yeah, it really highlights its rapid industrial expansion, the growing middle class driving demand for finished goods, that kind of thing.
Mm.
It's jumping from around 370 million to over 1.1 billion.
Okay.
But the real speed demon, if you like, is Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah, fastest growth in the entire region, over 11% CAGR.
11%.
Right.
What's driving that in Singapore?
It really points to the rapid pace of, well, high-tech manufacturing, specialized construction, maybe advanced electronics, a focus on very high-value precision work.
Got it. So Asia Pacific,
Yeah.
massive volume led by China, but also really fast growth in places like India and especially Singapore.
Exactly. And you also see strong growth, over 9.5% CGR, across Southeast Asia generally, Taiwan, Australia. It's a very active region.
Okay, let's head south now, South America, often seen as an emerging market area. What's the picture there for sanding pads?
South America is definitely an exciting area to watch. It's projected to more than triple its market size.
Triple. From what baseline?
From just under $500 million, about $477 million in 2021, soaring to over $1.5 billion by 2033.
That's a big jump.
It is. And what's really interesting here is you have several countries registering growth rates over 10% annually.
Like who?
Well, Colombia is actually leading the pack regionally with an impressive 10.7% CGR. Argentina and Peru are also showing growth over 10%.
Colombia leading, huh? Interesting. What about Brazil, the regional giant?
Brazil is the largest market by value, no question. Projected to grow substantially, too, from nearly $200 million in 2021 to over $620 million by 2033. The overall picture is one of really consistent high growth across the key economies there.
Suggesting quite a bit of infrastructure and manufacturing development happening.
That's exactly what it points to, huh?
Okay. What about the Middle East? We often hear about huge construction projects there. Does that translate into sanding pad demand?
It certainly seems to. The Middle East shows some really healthy prospects, some very strong growth percentages.
How strong?
Well, the region as a whole is set for a dramatic rise, from about $264 million in 2021 to over $900 million by 2033. But check out the growth rates.
Yeah.
The overall CAGR for the region is high, about 10.7%. But countries like the UAE and Egypt, they're showing the highest CAGRs we've seen anywhere.
Higher than Singapore.
Even higher. UAEs are projected at nearly 11.7% annual growth, and Egypt just over 11.1%.
Wow. What's driving that level of growth?
It strongly indicates a very fast-growing need, particularly tied to those ambitious construction projects we hear about, and also expanding automotive sectors.
Yeah.
Huge investment pouring in.
Right, makes sense. Okay, last stop on our world tour.
Yeah.
Africa. It's often starting from a smaller economic base, but what's the trajectory there?
Africa is definitely on the rise, yes. It's projected to more than triple its market size, too.
Okay.
From just under $220 million in 2021 to nearly $700 million, about $685 million by 2033.
And who are the main players driving that growth?
South Africa and Nigeria are the key contributors currently. South Africa in particular is seeing really robust annual growth, over 10.3%.
Over 10% for South Africa.
Yeah, pushing its market size towards $270-odd million by 2033. It really shows us, a steadily developing industrial base and increasing demand for these kinds of precision tools in those growing African economies.
So let's try and wrap this up. What does it all mean? Our deep dive seems to confirm that this, well, seemingly simple product, the sanding pad, is actually experiencing incredibly strong growth pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, across almost all global regions. The drivers seem pretty clear, don't they?
It looks like it. Widespread industrial expansion, this increasing demand for quality finishes on everything from cars to furniture to electronics, and big developments in construction worldwide.
It's almost funny, isn't it? These little discs that most of us barely notice.
Quietly powering global industry.
Exactly. They're like the unsung heroes of smooth surfaces everywhere. And it really hammers home the point, I think,
Which is?
that even seemingly small or niche industries like sanding pads can be really critical indicators. They tell you a lot about global economic health, about underlying industrial trends.
Right. It gives you a different lens. Looking at something specific like this gives you a deeper, maybe more nuanced understanding than just reading the big economic headlines.
Absolutely. It shows you the interconnectedness of it all, how demand for a better finish on a car in Germany relates to mining raw materials for abrasives somewhere else and manufacturing investment in Asia. It's all linked.
So, for you, our listener, what does all this mean? Maybe it's just an invitation, perhaps, to look a bit differently at the everyday objects around you.
Yeah.
What other invisible industries, things that are essential to our modern world, are quietly experiencing multi-billion-dollar growth right under our noses, just waiting for someone to notice? Did you know that the global market for something like a sanding pad seems pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Is actually projected to go past $5 billion by 2030.
It's staggering when you think about it.
Yeah, and this isn't just about getting smooth surfaces. It's a critical, pretty high-tech industry, really,
Yeah.
powering everything from, the car you drive to some really advanced manufacturing.
Absolutely.
So today, we're taking a deep dive into this often overlooked but really vital segment of the global economy. We'll sift through the latest insights, try to uncover the key forces driving its significant growth, and also the unique challenges it faces, and some surprisingly innovative trends that are shaping its future. You can sort of consider this your shortcut to understanding how this hidden workhorse operates and its impact without getting overloaded.
It really is fascinating, isn't it, how something so fundamental, so basic seeming can just be easily overlooked. The sanding pad truly is an essential component.
Right.
It underpins surface preparation, paint stripping, polishing
Uh,
across just an incredible range of industries.
so everything from big construction sites.
Exactly. Construction, automotive, precision manufacturing, even, like you said, your weekend home renovation project.
Sure.
Its role is just indispensable.
Okay, so if we're talking about the sheer scale here,
Right.
what's really driving that demand underneath it all? Where's the biggest push coming from?
Well, one of the most powerful forces is definitely the continuous sort of robust demand from automotive and construction.
Okay.
We're seeing these global infrastructure booms, especially in developing regions. And there's just a constant evolving need for vehicle maintenance, finishing.
Right, repair shops, body shops.
Precisely. And that translates directly into a massive surge in commercial and industrial use. They need high-performance, durable pads.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the meticulous prep work in a car paint shop or, the huge amount of surface finishing on a big construction site. The need is just continuous, always there.
So that's the big industrial demand. But are we seeing shifts maybe in consumer behavior, things that are maybe less obvious but still fueling this market?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The increased engagement in DIY and home renovation, that's created a really fascinating ripple effect,
Ah, interesting.
especially influenced by the last few years. There's been this noticeable pivot towards do-it-yourself projects.
Right, people staying home more, fixing things up.
Exactly. And that means more consumers are actually investing in tools like orbital sanders and, crucially, the sanding pads that go with them.
Okay.
So whether you're, I don't know, refinishing an old dresser, prepping walls for paint, restoring hardwood floors, this consumer trend is really boosting retail sales across all sorts of grid sizes, too.
Okay, that paints a clear picture of the high volume stuff. But are there other, maybe more specialized industries impacting this? Perhaps where, precision or getting that perfect finish is key.
Indeed. Yeah, the thriving woodworking and metal fabrication industries are pivotal here. Think about sectors like custom cabinetry, or people crafting handmade furniture, or achieving really precise metal finishes. Sanding pads are absolutely critical for creating those incredibly smooth, polished surfaces that, we all appreciate.
Right, the quality you can feel.
Exactly. And as the global demand for, say, customized furniture or fabricated goods keeps expanding, it just directly drives the need for quality sanding pads, whether they're used in, fancy automated systems or by skilled artisans using manual techniques.
Makes sense. But of course, no market is completely smooth sailing, right? There must be hurdles. So what are the biggest constraints or maybe the rough edges challenging the sanding pad industry now?
Yeah, one of the most pressing challenges is definitely the lifespan, the relatively short lifespan of these pads,
Ah,
especially under high-stress industrial conditions. They wear out quickly.
and that has knock-on effects, I assume.
Oh, big time. For businesses, it means constant replacements, more frequent ordering, higher operational costs overall, and it can also push users to actively look for longer-lasting options, or maybe even completely different abrasive solutions that might offer better long-term value.
And you mentioned the wear and tear. That kind of leads naturally to thinking about the environmental side of things. What's the picture there? Sustainability.
Yeah, that's becoming a huge point of focus, a really major one. Used sanding pads are typically, well, they're not recyclable.
Oh, okay. Landfill?
Exactly. They contribute directly to landfill burdens. And as sustainability climbs up the global agenda, you know, regulators are looking much more closely at industrial waste.
So pressure on manufacturers.
Huge pressure. It pushes them towards adopting greener materials, greener methods, which, is essential for environmental responsibility, but it can definitely bump up production costs, at least in the short term.
It sounds like a really competitive space then for the companies actually making these pads. How do they deal with those price pressures and what you called a fragmented market?
It's very complex. The market is quite fragmented.
Yeah.
You've got lots of regional players, budget manufacturers offering cheaper alternatives.
Right, the low cost option.
Exactly. And that creates intense price sensitivity. So the premium brands, they often struggle to hold on to their market share.
So they have to make tough choices.
Constantly. They're often forced into these strategic trade-offs.
Yeah.
Deciding between protecting their profit margins or maybe getting to more aggressive pricing to stay competitive. Neither path is easy. It requires constant strategic thinking.
But despite those challenges, innovation, it never really stops, does it? What are some of the key trends, the breakthroughs that are actually smoothing the way forward here?
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff happening. One of the most significant developments is the emergence of genuinely durable and, importantly, multi-surface pads.
Ah, okay. So better materials.
Exactly. Manufacturers are incorporating high-performance materials.
Mhm.
Things like ceramic, which is known for being incredibly hard, resistant to heat, great on tough metals. Then there's zirconia alumina that excels at really aggressive material removal. And refined aluminum oxide, which is a great all-rounder, very versatile, long-lasting.
So better science means longer life.
Pretty much. This focus on material science directly translates to significantly extended pad life and better performance across different materials, wood, metal, plastic. That boosts efficiency for pros and hobbyists alike.
And speaking of boosting efficiency, I guess the next trend is a real game changer for productivity, those quick change systems.
Oh, absolutely. The widespread adoption of hook and loop and these quick change systems,
Yeah.
it's fundamentally altered how quickly people can swap out sanding pads.
Just rip one off, stick another on.
Basically, yeah. This rapid tool-free exchange, it drastically minimizes downtime. And that's especially critical in high-volume places like automotive body shops or busy manufacturing floors where, speed and productivity are absolutely vital to the bottom line.
It's interesting how those challenges we talked about, like lifespan, can actually drive innovation. And thinking about the environmental concerns, what kind of eco-friendly solutions are popping up?
Well, there's a strong and I'd say growing push towards eco-friendly and even biodegradable solutions.
Really? Biodegradable.
Yeah, we're increasingly seeing manufacturers producing pads, maybe with recycled abrasives, or using binders that are designed to break down more easily in the environment.
Okay.
And these sustainable alternatives, they're gaining real traction, not just with, eco-conscious consumers who actively look for responsible choices.
Right. People want greener products.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also with regulatory bodies who are looking to incentivize greener industrial practices right across the board.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it really feels like the sanding pad market, even though it's often unseen, is this fascinating little microcosm of much broader trends, doesn't it? Industrial, consumer.
It really is. It's such a dynamic space. You see it being shaped by global expansion, by that growing environmental accountability we discussed, and just by relentless innovation.
Yeah.
And I think understanding these underlying dynamics, it really gives you a deeper appreciation for these, unseen workhorses that power so much of our modern world.
Definitely.
It also equips you with some valuable insights into how Even a niche industry like this adapts and actually thrives in response to global forces and shifting consumer demands.
Absolutely. And maybe just one final thought for you to ponder as we finish up. How might that increasing demand we see for customization, localized production, things like bespoke furniture, or even the really intricate finishing needed for 3D printed objects, how might that further drive specialized innovations in abrasive technologies? Maybe pushing us beyond what we traditionally think of as sanding pads into entirely new ways of finishing surfaces.